I just wanted to develop a community, and so people had somewhere to go where they felt a little bit more welcome. Back in the hot boat days, it was a little brutal, just terrible advice just on there, and it was just kind of the wild, wild west. It just nobody was really kind of jumping in and guiding any information.
Welcome to Power Boat Talk, the podcast where we talk everything performance boats with your host, Joe Rode.
Hello and welcome to Power Boat Talk. So today my guest is Brad Martin, who owns a company / website / all kinds of stuff. SoCal Jet Boats. He's located in Las Vegas. Brad's been around for a while in the industry, doing all kinds of things, does events, sells all kinds of cool hot boat swag. It'd be interesting to talk to him. So we've got Brad on today. How's it going, bud?
Pretty good. How are you doing, Joe?
Good. We had a little bit of an internet snafu here for a few minutes, but we're up and going. So
yeah.
But yeah. So you do some events out here. I think you do like about 6 or 7 events a year, and you just did a pretty big one, right? Like a 3-day one out the river.
Yeah, we did a 3-day, 3-location event at the beginning, or actually end of September. On Thursday, we joined up with Eliminator. They were doing their big regatta on Friday and Saturday. And on Thursday, they wanted to do kind of just like a small boats, classic boats regatta. We did it last year and it was awesome, and they wanted to do it again with us, so we joined in. And Thursday we launched out of Windsor Beach and cruised up to the gorge, hung out for a bit, went down to the channel and hung out in the channel there in Havasu. And then on Friday we went down to Parker, hung out down there. People just got together, hung out. There was another group over there having an event as well, and it was a good time. And then on Saturday, we went down to Blythe and hung out down there, just at the sandbar just north of the 10 freeway where the 10 crosses from California into Arizona. It's a nice little sandbar. And it was just a good time. You know, it kind of was an idea that we threw together so if somebody was traveling, say from, the Midwest or somewhere, they wanted to come out to one of our events, they could see a big chunk of the river in one weekend rather than just kind of seeing one part.
And when you say you guys down the other part of the lake, you guys travel as a group? Does everybody kind of...
Yeah, we launched at the same time, cruised up to the gorge and hung out on the beach up there. And I got a lot of really cool footage of us all cruising up there, rooster tails up, whatnot. And I'll be putting together a YouTube video here soon.
Oh, cool. So SoCal Jet Boats was started, I think you started like in 2006, and it was kind of in the prime of forums, right?
Back then, there only really was the Hot Boat Forum. There was some other small forums like the Banderlog Forum, I believe, and there was just kind of like little tiny groups of people that had forums. But as far as performance boating, it was just all it was Hot Boat at the time, and that's under the Flint publication at the time. And the reason why I started SoCal Jet Boats is my cousin and I had our 1969 Wright that I had grown up water skiing behind. He had grown up as well, and we went and tracked it down. Or he tracked it down, and his uncle had it up in Washington. He brought it back, and it had seen better days. It was metal flake and clear coated over it, and it was rotted transom and stuff. And it was just a little 16-foot boat with the small block Chevy in it. But we took it out on the lake, and it needed some love. So we decided we were going to renovate it and do full restoration on it that winter after we went out in it. And we found out real quick that we ran out of funds, so we were trying to figure out ways to generate some money, get the family excited because hey, we got this old boat from the family and we're trying to restore it and bring it back to life. And so it started out originally as just a blog for a couple months, and then I just kind of felt like it wasn't really I bought the domain SoCal Jet Boats for it, and it really wasn't what I wanted to do with it. So I ended up creating the forum, which is still live to this day. and I launched that in October 2006. And it's just kind of slowly grown from there. It started out with just a couple of us getting together every once in a while, and a few people expressed interest in circle boat racing, and we got a few guys together and started circle boat racing with Ron Lund and those guys. And I found an old Rogers that was a 71, I believe, Cyclone, and it was an old beat up Rogers in the backyard of some guy down in San Diego, and it had been painted black with red flames on it, and it was just, but I saw the potential in it, so I got it and I started sanding down on it and started seeing all these numbers and, stuff painted on the deck of, driver, owner, stuff like that. And you wouldn't believe it, it's an old relic of the Rootin' Tootin' Raspberry. And actually, Bennett actually mentioned it initially with his buddy Craig, who was Craig's parents' boat. So this kind of ties into your other episode. So the neat things about that boat that I learned, because I ended up tracking down Craig, and he invited me up to his high-rise office in Newport Beach, and really neat guy, and had all this history, all these articles about it and stuff. And one of the neat things he told me is, like, climb under there and look at the intake fins. There's a pinhole drilled through them. I was like, why would you drill pinholes through the intake? He said, that's where we got the idea for making a loader. So they strung a piano wire over the intake so it split the water and force it up into the pump. So that was kind of like their high school engineering. That's where Bennett started, doing weird things, kooky things, just to try this, try that. The boat had so much rocker on it. It was, it'd been ground off and then re-put back on. It was definitely a boat that they played with and tested. And I ended up getting the Liberty. I actually put together that boat, and I took it out and I raced it with a junkyard 460 in it. And it made it about 3 laps and it blew up, and that was the end of my weekend racing. But it was neat to go take it out in the Nostalgia Jet class and circle boat race it. And after that, I ended up wanted to be a little bit more serious with circle boat racing, and I got my Liberty. And Ron Lund, another one of your guests, hit me up, and he is the Rogers aficionado of the industry. He hit me up and he wanted to buy it, and I said, you're the only person I'd probably want to sell it to. And with the boat, when I sold it to him, was all the pictures and articles and stuff that Craig initially gave me that went with that. It was really kind of a cool thing passed on to Ron. And Ron still has the boat to this day, and he has plans eventually someday to restore it and, kind of bring it back to life, as maybe a museum thing, because it's definitely not a safe circle boat. The deep V on the front of it is scary.
Yeah. Well, when you mentioned that, as you're saying, I'm like, okay, I can't remember the story. Where did I hear that name? And then I remembered, okay, and then you brought it up because Jeff Bennett talked about it. But also, I forgot, too, after I talked to Jeff Bennett, Ron Lund texted me and told me he had it. I didn't remember that until you just mentioned it. So that's cool. But, man, that has to be so cool when you're just sanding. You're like, oh, my God, what am I finding here? It's like digging a hole in your backyard, right, and finding gold.
Yeah, and when I found that boat, where I started finding it, I took pictures of it and I posted it up on the original Hot Boat forums in the Jet Boat section. It became kind of wildfire. All these people came out, oh, that's Rootin' Tootin' Raspberry. And I won't mention any names, but somebody noteworthy in the industry came out and said that they had water skied behind it naked down the Parker Strip. So the boat's got some funny history to it.
Yeah.
And that's the boat that they kind of came with the concept of a loader for. And there's articles that were written about Craig, and they called him the sleeping bag kid because he would sleep underneath his boat at night because people wanted to see what he was doing under there. They wanted to poke around and see what he was doing.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's kind of neat to see those old articles about him.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. So cool. Because you have like build threads on the forum probably, right? Do you have stuff up there on that?
Yeah, there's still build forums on there. Obviously, the Hot Boat forum died. I'd say it was about a year after I launched SoCal Jet Boats. The Hot Boat forum died, and I was able to archive a little bit of it, and I still have a lot of the pictures and stuff of that thread. And I do believe I posted it up on our site just so it was, it was captured on the internet somewhere. But yeah,
Okay. Well, I'll have
It
to.
was definitely a lot of cool information in that post, and it's still up on my site somewhere, and I'm digging around in there somewhere.
Okay. Okay. We'll have to find it so I can, when this comes out, we'll have to let people know where that's at because I want to see it
Yeah.
myself too.
I know I do. At least I know I do save it off as a bunch of PDFs. So I do have the hard copy of that somewhere or I should say a soft copy of it somewhere. But I know I did repost a bunch of it on our site, on my site.
Okay. Cool. So when you started the forum, you said you guys were just trying to figure out a way to pay for some of this. So I mean, you launched it kind of you thought you could generate revenue. Was it? I mean, were you a computer guy or?
No, it turned into where we had so many questions about stuff and what we were doing, and at the time, as mentioned in the Hot Boat Forum, they just had one section for jet boats, and that was it. So everything jet boat related was just kind of crammed into one little section. So I wanted to create a website, a forum that was more broken down, of different things. So you can ask questions about, fiberglass or intakes or,
Gotcha.
engine performance, stuff like that. Or if you're just, hey, where's everybody hanging out this weekend? I'd like to go meet up with some people. I just wanted to develop a community. And so people had somewhere to go where they felt a little bit more welcome. Back in the hot boat days, it was a little brutal. You ask questions like, hey, what oil should I use? And you have somebody replying, use Crisco or something like that. Just terrible advice just on there. And it was just kind of the wild, wild west. It just, nobody was really kind of jumping in and guiding any information. And I kind of set a precedence with that as with the forum, and I still push it to this day with the Facebook group, is it's only as good as you make it. If you guys want to, just banner all the day long and inside jokes and whatever, it's never going to be fun. It's never going to be anything if you contribute to it and you build it and you put some effort into it, it could be an amazing place. And that kind of just set the tone. And the forum was great for years. There's so many awesome things that came out of it. I mean, there's people that I know that got, from my events, meeting at my events, got married and stuff like that, started families. And people have made lifelong friends to this day. I still see them, even though they're moved on in life, they don't have a boat or whatever. I still see them on Facebook. They're friends with those people, and their families are growing together. It's really neat how it's brought some people together. And it's not also, one other thing is like the name, people have kind of really gotten stuck on the name SoCal. The reach that this website's had it's global. It's kind of crazy. I'll have to share a story on that. I was a vendor spot at Desert Storm Street Party, and this guy came up with a really heavy accent and just started pointing at stuff that he wanted, this shirt, the stickers, he wanted a DVD, this and that. And I was like, do you even know what you're getting here? And he goes, oh yeah, SoCal Jet Boats, American Power. And he was from Norway, and him and his buddies were on a bucket trip from New York to San Francisco, and they saw that I was in Havasu, and they made a detour to come to Desert Storm to go buy some stuff. And it was neat.
Wow.
And that was in 2015, I think. It was kind of neat that, the amount of reach that, it's had over the years, and it keeps growing. When you ship stuff all over the world, it's insane, and it's awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean that, I think when forums were really getting big, where people were kind of transitioning from blogs, I mean, that was everybody's, even businesses, it was about building communities. Build a community, then you build an audience, and you have people to sell to, and blah blah blah. And there's not a lot of people that have done exactly what you did. I mean, you built the community, brought people together, and it's really cool.
Literally a life-changing experience to build this throughout the years. I mean, it was just a side hustle for years, and it's now a full-time job for my wife and I. It's really kind of grown to that point. And, when I started, I was living in California. That's where the, SoCal came from. I was born and raised in California. And, in 2008, when the economy tanked, I was working for a pharmaceutical company, and they're moving their data center up to Oregon, and I didn't want to move to Oregon. And that's about when the economy tanked. And that's why I moved out to Vegas to work for one of the major casinos here in town, just trying to get out of the rat race of California, a little bit closer to the river. And it's working for the casino. They were very lenient with what I was doing for quite a while, knowing that, I was taking off time to do events and stuff like that. And then their demand on me was getting excessive. I was traveling back and forth to Boston for a sister hotel that they were building out there. And the wife knew I wasn't happy and traveling a bunch, and it was, taking a toll. So she said, just quit your job. Wow. Right after we got married in 2019, she said, quit your job. So I did. She said, you give SoCal Jet Boats 10% of your time. So what happens if you give it 100% of your time? And it's awesome that she supported me like that. And it was awesome, but then COVID hit, and that was scary. It was definitely, kind of one of those things. What do we do now? And we kind of pivoted, and because we did events, we did on the water events, we sponsored boat races, we were vendors at shows and stuff like that, and all that just stopped. So we pivoted and did more online marketing and stuff like that, and it blew up. And we were doing this all out of our house. And in the end of 2020, she was just like, we gotta expand, and we moved into the shop that I'm actually sitting in right now. So, and then that following year, she quit her full-time job just to help me out here, and it's been a roller coaster ride.
Whenever you have side hustles, right, you're always like, I just want to quit and do this full time. But you're like, yeah, I'd be crazy if I quit and did this full time. But when you finally did it, I mean, it had to be scary. But how long did it take before you're like, okay, that was the best thing I ever did?
I would say it was after COVID hit. It took that long just to kind of, I'd quit my job. It was in June or July of 2019. And then that following November was actually Black Friday weekend. We bought a screen printing press and an embroidery machine. And I was like, well, now I got all this time in my hand. I should start doing this in-house. The best time to do it is when we're slammed with a bunch of orders. So yeah, it was kind of just had to jump in the fire with that. And we've really kind of expanded and grown on the whole screen printing and embroidery side of things. Everything we do is in-house now. There's very, very little that we outsource.
And you're pretty much, you do all the drag boat races. So you're pretty much the go-to guy for all the drag boat guys and the events, right?
Yeah, we started last year with the NJBA doing all their event shirts. And then this year we started with the ADBA doing their event shirts. And last year and this year we're doing the Drag Boat National shirts for the SDBA. And it's been awesome that they given me that opportunity, because it's kind of just opened up to where we're now printing a lot of shirts and hats, doing hats and shirts for the local, like the small teams and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, we want to make some hats and shirts for our team, our race team, so we can generate some revenue, to help them out. And I love to do that and help those guys out as well.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Because most times they make a phone call to a t-shirt place. They're probably like, yeah, whatever, 100 dozen, don't call me, whatever.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing, is you call a t-shirt place and they want artwork. And then you got to go do all the legwork with the artwork. We have artists that I have, that I work with, and all. They're a spectrum of artists, so it depends on what style you're looking for, what you're if I have all that, and I do all the legwork with those artists. And I come back, even with the NJBA and the ADBAs, I come back and say, here's your final product, and they might make a change here or two, but the legwork of the back and forth, we absorb a lot of that, and that's a huge convenience for a lot of people that just have no idea where to start.
Yeah, right. One guy just does it all, and you've done it a million times, so that's cool. So obviously you'll do kind of anything for anybody. You do embroidery too, right? On top of silk screening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of started another side hustle, if we keep in side hustling, because we started Russell's Print Shop, which is basically just our a business that we started so we can start, taking the outside jobs rather than just printing for the brand SoCal Jet Boats. So that's the other kind of other extracurricular activity that we've been doing here.
Yeah. Because I'm curious about one thing, but I mean, when you started that, did the merchandise stuff, did you think that was going to be an evolution, or is it just something that kind of happened?
The merchandising with SoCal Jet Boats is kind of, the first shirt I did was in 2007.
Oh, okay. So pretty quick. You were...
And yeah, I did one shirt in 2007. I bought 70 shirts at $10 a piece at $700, dropped, and I sold 3.
Oh, no
and
way.
that was
Okay,
the most discouraging thing. I mean, I still probably have like 5 or 6 of them hanging in my closet just to hold on to. But yeah, there was no interest in them, and they were red shirts, and people were like, well, why don't you have black and why don't you have blue, and I want one with a pocket, and I want long sleeve. And everybody wants different options. You can't make everybody happy. You spend thousands of dollars just trying to make all the options. So it was a learning experience of trying to find a neutral ground. It's not what I want. It's what I have to, feed the needs and wants of other people. So, So for a long time after that, I did, it was real popular for a while, direct garment printing with on-demand companies. So basically you sent your artwork and you set up an online store, and they would basically print it on demand and handle the whole order, and you get a couple bucks commission out of it. And I did that for a while until I started seeing shirts show up with the back print on the front and the front print on the back. And you see interesting things when people were wearing your shirts at events, and it was just like, oh no. So we went back to doing designs and screen printing, and I had a company in California I worked with for years that did all of our screen printing and embroidery, and they were great. But it was tough because the demand started growing, and it was hard for them to keep up. And our catalog was growing, so it's like, oh, I have 5 different designs, and I need 4 of those and 3 of those and whatever, and it got to be a little bit cumbersome. So that's why we kind of decided to bring it in house, and we slowly did. We kind of just got away from using outside print shops, and now we're 100% in house. And it's been a neat ride in learning the apparel business and growing the business with that. It's great because I get pictures from people all over the world wearing our stuff. I have a buddy that was a guitarist in a band, and he's in Switzerland or touring all over Europe, and he's taking pictures wearing my sweatshirt, and it's amazing. Or he'll take a picture of my koozie in front of a crowd of 150,000 people. It's just neat, to see your products just out there floating around, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Like when you said starting off with the print on demand thing, that's a cheap, easy way for you to get into it without the inventory, like your red shirts. In manufacturing, you were outsourcing what we could, because anything you could outsource, it was just one less thing you had to worry about. But especially when the pandemic hit, man, when everybody lost control of everything, and suppliers were, the company I was working with, I mean, we lost like 7 vendors in 2 years between anodizers, polishers, and you're like, yeah, so maybe if everything's going well and you have really good vendors or a lot of vendors, it maybe is not the most economical way, but at the end of the day, you have control, and nobody can, if you're shut down, it's only because of you, not because of anybody else. And so that control, I mean, is kind of no better thing to have, if you can manage the cost of it.
Yeah, that was a good part of it. At the time of the pandemic, I was working on my garage. So, here in Vegas, they were actually going around barring up doors and stuff.
Wow.
And I was able to continue production in my garage. And the struggle that we still had was getting blank shirts and blank hats. A lot of the suppliers still kind of struggled through it, and, certain warehouses did get shut down, but, you could still order stuff, and it would be coming from, the Midwest or wherever. And, but they're limited supply because they were not getting anything from the manufacturers. There was just nothing, and you were just scraping. And I'd watch, I'll get a notification that they got some hats in stock, and I go check it, and they just got 50,000 hats in stock. I go to try to buy them, and they're gone. Like people were in, it was just like the toilet paper. People were hoarding, products.
Mm-hmm.
And, so you're surfing around Facebook groups just begging, hey, I just need 24 of these. And, luckily you find every once in a while somebody in a Facebook group is, oh, okay, I'll give you, some. And you find out who's actually hoarding stuff.
Yeah.
But they, of course, they're making a penny on it.
Yeah.
The merchandising part of it's been a big part of SoCal Jet Boats, being a vendor. We take a lot of our money and we give it back. We sponsor a lot of boats. We sponsor the ADBA. Work closely in raising money for the NJBA with the event shirts that we sell for them. So it's not something that we're just out here getting rich off of. There's a lot of give and take with the industry and the members of it, to where we love to be a part of it and do stuff for them. Be able to put together an event and get them people together.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I think you guys, you sell all the event shirts too, right? Don't you sell them directly like after the events, or do you have to all stay with the company, with the events?
Yeah, with the NJBA, what I'll do is I'll do a second run. It's like a pre-order after the event. So it gives a chance if they weren't able to make it there, or I sold out of a certain size and before they were able to get a shirt. And then also I open that up to if they want a, sweatshirt, long sleeve, something with that same design. So then I do, just one more run. I just buy whatever I sold and do a run about 2 weeks after the event. And that's with the NJBA, and I'm working with ADBA to kind of get on that same plane. The last event shirt that we did for them for their Oktoberfest was a big hit, and a lot of people posted that they want that. So we're going to get that up and going on the website here soon as well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a good way, because those guys aren't equipped to sell merchandise like you are, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we sell all the official merchandise for the NJBA as well through our website. So they have a platform, and basically they don't do anything. I print them, I take the order, process money, and I ship it out, everything, and I give profits back to them.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So I'm curious. I want to go back to kind of when you got started. How did kind of the transition from forums to social media go for you, and how was it kind of seamless, or I'm curious about how that struggle or.
I fought it tooth and nail. I hated it. I thought Facebook groups were terrible at the time. Even still to this day, you lose so much value in the community in Facebook groups. I mean, it's such a convenient way to jump on an app and integrate with people and ask questions, or just kind of scroll through and see what people are doing. It's great in that sense. But at the time when I was fighting Facebook groups, there was no way to search. There was really no way to, find a specific thread. The search function was not there yet. You could search generally in Facebook, but you couldn't really search through the group. And also, like, build threads kind of just went away. There's no way that you can just have a continuous thread on a Facebook group. That's long gone in that sense with social media. And I finally came to my senses, and I said, it's either I do this or I lose it. Somebody else is going to just kind of run me over, and I'm going to be not with the times. So I think it was in 2006. No, it was probably 2017 or so. I started the Facebook group, and it just exploded. And I think to this day we're at 55,000 people on the Facebook group. Yeah, it's crazy how it just keeps growing, and it's awesome. And as I said before, it's kind of a double-edged sword, where there's a lot of just smart asses on there that and there's a lot of people that just want to argue with you just to argue, and I do my best not to let them get my goat.
Yeah. Well, and you're really active. I mean, you jump on there all the time to settle stuff down or say, hey, we're not doing that or whatever, you know, so I can tell you always have your eyes on it.
Yeah, I do my best to try to keep it, and we have a panel of moderators too, that have been great. Shannon and Lee, they've been very active in helping us out with that. And my wife's Brittany, she's on there all the time. Just kind of, we're always just trying to root out the bad guys because toxic people will kill it real quick, and then people get just turned off by the group. So we try to keep it as positive as possible. And yeah, it's a full-time babysitting job is what I've referred it to. It's a lot of work. It's insane, like how much time we put into it, and it's aggravating at the same time as how much time we put into it. I shouldn't have to, but at the same time, it's needed. Mm-hmm. So,
well, keep it clean. If you want to keep it, you know, to your core beliefs and what you think's right. Yeah, that's you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've said it before. I mean, I go on there all the time. In fact, that's might be why I do this. It's just because from selling parts, I spend a lot of time explaining parts and talking about how things work and looking at what's best and whatever. So I'm always on there and I learn a lot too. And, you know, I try to chime in once in a while, keep people straight, but man, sometimes I feel so bad because the guy will ask the simplest question and then there'll be 40 answers. And, it's almost comical sometimes. I'm like, I want to ask those guys, like, where did you get that? Like, how did you come up with that? Like, where did that come from? You know, but it, you know, at the end of the day though, it's great, man. And there's so many younger guys and somebody, even the economy, the way it's been, man, there's still so many new guys right now. It's pretty cool. And I like when it's a new guy asking questions and trying to figure it out. It's cool.
And that's what we try to do is encourage the new guy. Hey, you know, you're okay to come in here and ask, hey, what oil should I use? You know,
absolutely.
And that's even in one of our rules: don't talk down to others. We all started somewhere. We all just weren't born experts on jet boats.
Yeah.
So we all started in the same place, asking the same questions, trying to just figure out, you know, how everything works and what's best and what works, what doesn't. And, you know, you kind of get a breed of different, like you have the spectrum of older people and the younger people. And you see some of these younger guys, it's amazing that, they're 17, 18 years old, first jet boat. And I think that's great, you know, that you're out there just trying to do it and you're, you know, trying to, you know, if you're reliving your childhood because, you know, your parents had one, or you're just like, hey, I saw a cool video on the internet, I want one of those, and you went out and got one, found it on, you know, Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and it doesn't matter if you got a $500 jet boat or a $100,000 jet boat. Everybody should be on the same playing field. You shouldn't snub your nose at other people, and just go out, and we're all just there to have a good time. And even at the events, people ask, "Oh, I don't have a jet boat. Am I allowed?" And I say, yes. It's not about jet boats. It's about just the commonality of, you know, we're all sharing the same interest of wanting to, you know, have performance boats on the water and having a good time, and just, you know, that's I can't find other words for describe it.
Really, it's no more.
Get together and have a good time.
Yeah, it's no more complicated than that, you know. We went through it in the hot rod industry 10, 15 years ago when, I don't know if you're familiar with rat rods.
Yeah.
So rat rods are basically, we're young guys and they're like, hey, I can't afford $100,000 car, so I'm going to build whatever runs and drives and go to car shows. And man, so many of the old guys were just having a cow. But it's like, man, you guys forget at one point you were driving a primered car, you know, in your life, and they did get accepted, and it's, you know, it's a whole part of the industry now. But
it's they're sharing the same passion, whether you're doing it the same way or not. You're sharing the same passion.
Yeah. But I do think, and I don't know, I could be wrong. It seems like the boat guys are a little more, you know, the guys with the $1 million boats. I mean, I think a lot of guys are just they're cool with the guy with a jet boat that just, you know, like you said, that just they're in the industry and they're starting somewhere, and that's cool, you know. So yeah, so no, that's very cool. Cool guys like you have been able to really foster that and stoke it. So, and I don't want to keep harping on it, but it's just really interesting to me because I lived in the hot rod stuff because the forums, man, when I first started selling hot rod parts, I mean, there were a lot of companies that they had guys, they would have a sales guy for each forum. I mean, they were so into the forums and how to sell on the forums and how to answer people on the forums. And then that transition just really threw people for a loop. And like you said, the bad part about the Facebook groups and once you moved away from forums is you didn't have those archives. They weren't searchable. And they're, even today, I don't think, a Facebook archive is anywhere close to as easy as like a forum archive. In fact, I was going to ask you, because I'm sure at one point when social media first came on, the forums really took a hit. But have you seen, has it kind of come back up in popularity and from the searches?
No. We've tried several ideas on trying to just drive some traffic back to that. I do have an app for the forum. And so it's, it's social smartphone accessible.
Mm-hmm.
It's mobile friendly as well if you're pulling it up on your phone. And it's hard to drive traffic back into the forum. We try to include, articles that have, important articles into our newsletters and stuff like that. So just to, drive some traffic back there, but it's just, there's no interest. It's tough and it's sad too,
Mm-hmm.
But I won't ever shut down the forum. I'll keep it alive, as long as I can. It's the heart and soul of what we started, 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still a few diehards that don't like Facebook. They stay off Facebook. They'll post on there, but it's few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
There's other forums like River Dave's Place. He's done a good job on keeping his forum alive. I believe he still has decent traffic over there. And I think I ran into him at the river once and we kind of had a conversation about it, and he shot some ideas, but there was a few beers in. I don't really remember many, but I should probably reach out to him and kind of pick his brain on what we can do to bring that forum back to life. Cause it's one of those things. It's nostalgic in the sense of where the industry was and where it is today.
Well, I think though, from a search, I mean, I know obviously with this podcast, I'm always searching, and I like old classic stuff. I'm always searching. They always end up on a forum somewhere. It seems like, some post about, whatever. I'm doing something on the 9 hour, and I've found so much stuff where guys have posted on yours or performance boats or whatever. So I think from an archive standpoint, I think I'll probably live forever, having that stuff.
Yeah.
But
the other downside to it is there's a lot of these publishing companies. I don't even know if they're publishing companies or what. They're going out and trying to buy up all these forums because they're just trying to use them as clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
They're just loading them up with ads and stuff. So as you would search for stuff, then you got 20 ads in your face before you even get to what you're looking for. And I've gotten quite a few of those messages, and I've never responded to any of them. I have no desire to sell it. It's my baby. I don't even run. I used to run Google ads on there. I don't anymore because it's just I didn't really have much control of what was showing, so I took that off, and it's just our ads for our merchandise, as far as our merchandise store as well as our speed shop.
How did you get Dave to drink? I mean, I didn't know he drank.
I have no.
He's great. He's Dave.
It was a late night on the dock at Roadrunner.
No, he's a good guy. He's definitely a personality, man. He loves what he does, and he's good for the industry too. So going forward, what's I don't know if you want to share this or not, but what are your plans long term? I mean, where do you want Brad and Brittany Martin Empire to be someday? What's it look like to you?
The short term is we want to do, as many people know, we just had a baby. He's 1 year old. He just turned one last month. And doing events on the water has been very difficult with dragging out all the merchandise and stuff. So it's really kind of taken the fun out of it. And so we're going to do more. We're planning on moving forward doing more events, but less merchandising on the water. It takes a lot of the wind out of the sails with us trying to do what we're doing, and we want to have more fun, do more fun things for us, our family, we'll still, offer our merchandise online, but dragging all of our stuff out to the river, every other month. In the summer, it's every month, 1 week in a month. It's difficult, and we'll still continue to do vendors at the boat races and all that stuff, but I think we're going to scale back on that. We would definitely want to do more printing for, with I mentioned the Russell's print shop. Do more printing for other race teams and stuff like that, as well as it opens the door. I can print for local construction companies and whatnot. So that's the goal of where we're going. As far as with SoCal Jet Boats, I always tell myself, I told myself this 10 years ago, is I don't see this ever getting any bigger than it is. And it kind of just always surprises me. And it's not that I'm doubting it. I just feel like with this niche that I have with SoCal and jet boats, how much can I do with it? That's the tough part. And it keeps surprising me of what doors just keep on opening and where I can go and what can I do with it. And it's awesome. And we keep turning over new leaves and opening up different doors and seeing new things and doing things differently, and just continues to grow. And it's awesome. It's one of those things that it surprises me all the time. And one of the things that we started as well was a second brand. I sent you a hat as well of that, the Freedom and Fuel. I haven't really publicly said that, that's us, but that is our brand. We started it because a lot of people, we're going to the boat races, and some people are like, I don't own a jet boat. I own a V-Drive. Or I don't like SoCal because we'll go up to Idaho for the circle boat races, be a vendor up there or out in Arizona. And they're like, they don't like SoCal for whatever political reasons, which I don't blame them. So we decided to create Freedom and Fuel, which is, it's more of an inclusive brand. And the sky is the limit with that. And we're kind of just slowly kind of getting it out there. It's been, I think, about 2 years now that we've had this brand, and the idea behind it is we can go down different avenues. We can go into, the desert, the dunes, the street racing, the off-road racing, NASCAR, whatever. We can take that brand and just kind of go anywhere with it. With jet boats, we're kind of limited to doing jet boat things. So that was an idea, and we haven't really done anything huge with it, but we've been selling the stuff and it's going like crazy and people love it. And I get pictures. It's another thing. Somebody sent me a picture recently. A friend of mine, Nikki, sent me a picture. She was down at the duct tape drags in Tucson, spotted one of our shirts down there. So it was kind of cool. It's getting out there and people are seeing it.
I don't know, it just kind of popped up. Doing this, I've had to get more involved in social media to promotion, all that. And I didn't know who it was until, by the way, thank you for the hat. But when I opened the box, I'm like, that's who's the Freedom and Fuel. I didn't realize that. So
I wanted to grow organically and just see what it would do on its own without, trying to get it to ride off the coattails of SoCal Jet Boats. It was kind of more of an experiment, and it's been doing really well. Yeah, we sell the stuff in our booth when we're in a vendor and stuff like that. And there's a few people have asked, like, oh, is this you guys? And, we'll admit it, but it hasn't been really pushed out there in the public space of the internet that, hey, these two brands are associated by us.
But it really makes sense. I didn't really think about it, but it makes really good sense for you because, it gets you in automotive stuff. And
yeah, it really kind of just takes the ceiling off of everything where we can go. Yeah.
Couple things I want to say about. One thing I want to say is that traveling with the hot rod business, I know I go back to Summit in Atlanta a lot, and one of the guys he's actually the head of all their retail stores now. But when he knew I was in the boats, he talked about was Southern California jet boats and hot boats, and that's all they talked back there in Atlanta. It's like, man, dude, if you can. And he was on Craigslist all the time trying to find one to bring back there. So it's kind of, the world knows about it, at least this country knows about it, that it was started here, and they're cool. Back to what you were saying about, like, it just, this whole thing just keeps surprising you, and you don't know if it's going to get bigger, and then it keeps doing it. But I mean, you guys have, like, you're really authentic, right? It's very genuine. You guys are genuine people, and what you do it's nice stuff. Your designs are cool. I mean, it's a simple model, but it's amazing how many people try to out trick themselves, and you guys are just kind of a steady, and it's working, man. So I'm sure the Freedom and Fuel thing, you just apply your same principles, and it's going to be great.
Yeah. Slow and steady has always been kind of the motto. We're not trying to explode, and we've taken some big leaps. Quitting the job is one big one, and moving into the shop was a big scary one. Going from the garage to moving into the shop was exciting but scary at the same time. But we've tried to keep within our means and not just scale insanely big, because I feel like a lot of the people that want to scale so quickly, I see it in other brands, they're just a flash in the pan. They explode and they're big and everybody loves them, and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And we've just kind of just tried to stay steady and true and keep things interesting, where people kind of come, keep interested, but not just completely fizzle out and then disappear, where they're you lose your audience space. You got to keep posting. You got to put the content out there and keep everybody engaged.
Yeah. But and you live in your community, though. Like, you're at all the events, people can walk up to you and talk.
And that's one of the things I see a lot is a lot of these, I don't know, Facebook groups or Instagram pages. It's a lot of borrowed content. A lot of these guys aren't even out getting their own pictures, their own videos, making their own videos. It's a lot of, they're borrowing content from other people or just outright stealing it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I see that happening too.
Mm-hmm.
There's recently, even with Fast and Loud, you were talking to him about that, the people, stealing content. When he was talking about that, I felt it. We get it all the time, people stealing our content. We get people stealing our artwork. There's a lot of that going on, and it's daily. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Just the audacity of people to just take my artwork and throw it up on a website that does direct to garment printing, and
mm-hmm.
they post a link in my own group trying to sell shirts. It's crazy. And 99.9% of it's all overseas in some foreign country, and they're just trying to make a buck. And I've found the person to talk to that shuts it down pretty quickly. I've gotten into the top tiers of that legal system, and that within the company that oversees all those the website form or the website software they use. So I get it shut down pretty quickly. It's a matter of hours that they get in there and they delete it for me. But I've tried to help out other people. I see a lot of artwork for other events like Billy B's events and stuff like that, old shirts. I see those pop up, and I've tried to email them, and they wouldn't shut it down because I don't own the rights to it.
Mm.
So they, I can't prove that I own it, so they just shut it. They let that go, and it's unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's got to be one cool thing. I mean, I know you're at a lot of events. You don't spend a lot of time participating in the events, but at least you're there, and I'm sure you get a few minutes here and there to see what's going on, and you probably know a lot of the racers and keep up on what's going on with, who's winning and who's doing what. So
yeah, we've made a lot of great friends over the years going to these races. There's so many people that just have been really awesome, help us out. Setting up our booth is never easy. Setting up tear down, because we're at 40 foot of space, two 10 by 20s, and when we do an event, we drag it all out with us. So. And the people that jump in and help us out, you guys know who you are. Thank you so much. I can't name all of you, but I appreciate it. Every single one of you ever, stayed late on a Sunday to help us load up so we can get home. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, guys at the event, you'll just get a bunch of people helping you load up.
Yeah.
Wow.
People, at the events, or we're, at boat races at the end of the day. People are literally got their boat hooked up, pulling out of the parking lot, and they'll stop just to say bye. And they're like, "Hey, you need some help?" Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's awesome that people jump in and help out. It's a great community, you know. It's so many nice people that we've met, and you know, as I said, there's so many people, longtime friends and stuff like that, that people have met over the years. It's I've met, that other people have met through the forum. It's great, you know.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's such a great
It's
story.
priceless.
Yeah, that's very cool. So, what do you? I mean, do you get to boat much other than your events? I mean, do you feel like you get to enjoy them when you're there on those events, or you just is it
Well,
more like a
the
work?
last time I took my boat out last year for that Eliminator day, just for the one day, because my son Russell had just been born a few weeks prior. So the wife gave me the hall pass. I drove down for the day, you know, hung out, and we went to the gorge and stuff, and I drove home that night. But and the boat had been pretty much parked the rest of this year, and we took it out, and I pulled it out of storage and pulled the cover off of it, fired it right up. I haven't didn't change the valve, check the valves or nothing. It ran great all weekend. Great motor from Bostic Racing Engines that built it
Hmm.
for me. That motor's been sunk, and you know, I flipped it in Parker and sunk it, and we
Oh, did you?
tore it down, put it back together, and raced the next day. And that was another community effort. Just a bunch of people just kind of jumped in, helped out. And
Hmm.
it was awesome that we were able to pull that off. And but yeah, I we went down. My wife and I went down for Friday, you know, to the gorge, and I took the boat to also to Parker, and then she met me back down in Blythe with our son. So it was 3 days of, you know, being able to drive my boat that I haven't been able to do, and you know, since last year. You know, and that's where we kind of just want to reel things back a little bit and enjoy life rather than just, you know, just the crazy hustle that we've been in. It's
Hmm.
been great, but it's not, you know, the life that we want our kid to be forced into. Is we want him to enjoy it, not,
Hmm.
you know, be like, I got to go do another event.
Yeah,
That means I got to carry bins.
yeah. Certainly when you're starting out, I mean, getting face to face people, I mean, just just putting stuff in your truck and going and doing. I mean, that's what you got to do to start. That's. But guys that have been doing it for a long time, any big company will tell you. I mean, I'm of the belief that I think you should always do events of a certain amount of events because you just don't want
Yeah.
to lose touch with that. You want to get face to face with your customers. There's no other way. There's no other better way to keep in touch with customers than that. But
Yeah.
it's not always the most efficient way to do it. So it's there's no shame in saying, you know what, we're gonna be a little smarter this year and spend more time doing it this way. And
Yeah. It's, yeah, just scaling it back. We're still obviously going to do events and stuff like that. It's just the merchandising, bring it back a little bit. Yeah. I remember we did events at Big River, and literally I'd bring out a box of hats and throw them on the table, and people pick through the box. And I put them back away, and then I enjoyed my day. And I was like, "That's the way it should be." That's the way That's the way we did it back then, and it's just it's kind of it's awesome that we're doing what we're doing, and we've talked about getting a bigger pontoon boat and this and that, and it just was like, no, people can buy our stuff online. They don't have to, unfortunately, you miss that impulse buy where people are like, oh, I see that hat, I want it right now.
Sure,
You know?
sure,
So
sure.
you can't catch people on impulse. It's really tough these days to catch people on impulse with the internet, with so many ads going on. But
Right, right.
but I think we have a decent following. It's awesome, and it keeps growing, and that's the goal, is just to keep pushing on that, to so we can kind of reel back and enjoy ourselves at the river.
What's it look like, the plans for next year for events? You gonna have kind of the same schedule or anything new and exciting, or?
Um, we are in talks with bringing back the Avi. We're penciled in on a few dates. As everybody knows, the Avi is Indian tribe owned, and they are still COVID crazy. And I pushed real hard for this year to bring back our events there, and it just got a hard no. Like, I think the most I got was, let me ask real quick, and call back. No, they wouldn't, you know. And but I did get them in August to be able to pencil in some events for next year.
Mm.
Um, one of the big things that a lot of people miss that we did at the Avi, 2020 would have been our 5th year doing it, is Horsepower Fest. Horsepower Fest is a big charity car and boat show, off-road stuff, and it just grew exponentially in size in the few years that we did do it. And it was amazing because what we did was we slowly grew our raffle pool. Well, I wouldn't say slowly. We kind of grew it pretty quick to where the last 2 years that we did it, we actually raffled off a jet boat both years. And what I did is I went out and found, just a decent project boat. And then we had people of the industry donate their time and parts to put it back together and do the restoration on it. So we had people, restoring the trailer. One guy would take the trailer and he would go, sandblast it and paint it. And then another guy would be painting the boat. And, we had another guy building the motor. And it was awesome. And then at the end, you had all these people of the industry that got a chance to say, hey, I had a part of this. And it got their name on the boat and some recognition out of it. And it raised a ton of money for we did the Semper Fi Fund was like a Wounded Warriors type project. Anybody that was wounded post 9/11 in battle, it benefited them, and that was just an awesome thing to do. And unfortunately, COVID happened, and we haven't done it since. We're holding out, hoping that the Avi will let us back in and do that there. But we've kind of opened up our options to do it other places. One of the things that we struggle with is with the Avi, we have so many accommodations there. You have the restaurant, you have the hotel, launch ramp, the show area that we can do it. They have bathrooms, security. They took care of everything. So if we say we did it down at, Jack Smith, where Billy B did his shows, we're paying for all of that out of pocket. Security and the fencing and the porta potties and all that stuff. It becomes a very expensive event, and then you start having to charge people. Where Horsepower Fest was a free admittance, so it really grew the crowd and let people just, you didn't have to pay to get your kids in there and stuff. So,
I think Horsepower Fest was your first show you did, right?
As far as like a car show type thing, car boat show, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot all about that till you mentioned that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we did that it was 4 years that we did it, and our 5th year would have been 2020, but obviously that didn't happen, and that put a damper on that. But it was something, and people still post and share pictures, from it, because it was about this time of year, is October, November, so it's popping up in their memories, and people are like, "Hey, when are we bringing this back?" They're really excited about it, and all I can say is I'm working on it.
Yeah, hopefully.
I really want to bring that back. It was an awesome event, and we had so many people involved. It just really, it was a good time.
Yeah, definitely keep working on that. That would be really cool. So what else do you do? You guys do anything else for fun, or is it boats all the time?
boats. That's pretty much it. That's not like, all we do. As I mentioned, got my 1-year-old son. That's a whole life-changing experience. It's been amazing. It's been terrifying, but it's awesome. I have so much excitement, just when I come home at the end of the day and you see his face light up. It's, it takes everything of the day, the headaches and everything. It's awesome. And then, my wife, I can't thank her enough. The amount of support that she puts in and gives us. She is, I don't even know how to put it without saying it this way. She's a ride or die. She is fully committed and always on board, and she loves it.
That's cool.
She loves everything that, all the dreams and aspirations, and she's right there in it and coming up with new ideas and, things that we can do differently. It's awesome.
He likes boats, or?
Yeah. He went on his first boat on my buddy Eddie, call him Uncle Eddie, went on his Placecraft, or not a TPR deck boat. So he went out there. He's been on that a couple times, and he goes right to sleep. Yeah, it's a blown motor, and he just goes right to sleep.
That's funny.
That's the way I was too. Cranky, throw him in the boat, take him for a ride, and he'll go right to sleep.
I know.
It's with any baby, actually.
Yeah, I was the same way too. But boy, I tell you, I'm 100 years old, man. There was nothing like as a kid growing up being at the river and and being around boats, it was just to this day, my wife all the time's like, just let it go. Like, I was 60 years ago. I'm like, I don't care. It was great. It was just the best. So
I mean, my early memories are camping at Riverland.
oh my
On a
gosh.
banana chair. It's 100 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And you have hot boats in the distance roaring.
Yeah.
Making those early passes. That's what my early memories. Just, it was awesome back then, and it's still awesome to this day. But it's it's once it's in you, you can't get rid of it. It's a disease.
I know, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. So, and do you ever foresee the day when you get back into racing again, or is that?
It's something that I would like to do. Wife was kind of hesitant after I crashed. It was actually, we just started dating when that happened, when I flipped that boat in Parker. And the story behind it was I kind of prepped her. I said, hey, if I go in the water for whatever reason, I have to go into the basket and I have to go to ambulance. Doesn't mean I'm dead,
Oh, good.
So,
Glad you did that.
I said, if I go in the water, I'll pat my head and let you know that I'm okay. The boat rolled over out of an exit at turn 1. It was like literally the third lap of the first heat. And it just rolled over, chimed, and threw me out of the boat clean. Didn't catch on anything. And the worst part of it was, it was March, I think. Water was cold, and I hit the water and you inhale it instantly, and got a bunch of water in my lungs, coughed it up. But I patted my head. As soon as I came up, I'm like, I'm fine, pat my head. Well, the boat was upright at that point, sinking, and I was on the other side of it. She couldn't see me.
Oh.
So full panic set in, So, but she ended up finding I was fine. And since then, she was really on the fence. She's like, I don't know, I don't want you racing anymore. I can't, even though I raced the next day, the fear, the reality kind of set in afterwards. And so she was really on the fence. And the guys up in Idaho, the Dilworth family, they're awesome, great group of people. They were kind of twisting her arm, twisting my arm, and she was warming up to it. And then the accident happened in Long Beach with Duff, and she was like, no. And then we went to another race up in Burley, and she's like, I like this course, but I can't see on the other side of the island, and because the guys at the Dilworths were trying to twist my arm to run one of their boats on Sunday. And I was like, I made an excuse. I was like, I don't have my jacket. I don't have my certification, my health certification, and they had a solution for everything. So the wife was just like, I kind of turned it down because I wasn't mentally prepared to go, out racing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were in Long Beach for 2019. And on Saturday, she was kind of really warmed up to it. And unfortunately, the accident happened with Jay Hart. And that one, she's hard-nosed since. And I don't blame her. That's a tough one.
It is, especially with a 1-year-old, man.
Yeah. Even with the baby and stuff, she's like, you got life insurance, but
yeah.
It's and I have these things you have to think about as well as, I want to be there for my, my child. And, it's a dangerous sport, and it's exhilarating at the same time. And I've even kicked around the idea of, going racing and have some, find somebody young that's fearless, go out and drive it for me. That's another idea that we've kind of kicked around. But the boat's it's in decent shape, but it's in bad shape structurally. It needs new stringers and wood and all that stuff. And the idea that I've had in the last couple of years, and of course time has just been eaten up, is I wanted to strip that boat down, redo all the wood, all the, the bulkheads and the gunnel supports, transom, stringers, everything, put balsa floors in it, and put proper cab plates on it, and build it as a spec, circle boat, and still just enjoy it on the river, with the option if ever one day I want to take it out racing, I can. And that's still a plan, but as far as me getting behind the wheel again, racing, I don't think that's going to happen. But would love to see that boat go around the course, again someday. maybe
Yeah.
get somebody else to drive it. So now I'm going to get bombarded with messages of people wanting to drive the boat.
You know it. You know it. So yeah, just hang on to it. You never know. Things change
Yeah.
but yeah, at least you have it. That's the important thing.
Yeah,
You
that's a
keep it
boat I
now.
will never sell. I have that boat, and I have another 81 Sprint, Eliminator Sprint, that's a project boat that's been sitting for a long time. And that one was, the idea is put a twin turbo, motor in it and make it just a river hot rod. So throw the family in it and enjoy it. But if, I want to go, put my foot in it, it'll go. But that's another dreams and aspirations, just sitting there, and I need to find more time for myself.
It'll happen. That's one of the evolutions of business and being a business guy, man, is you do have to figure that out, and you will.
Yeah.
So well, cool. That's very cool. I mean, a big reason I do this is because I get to, I've known each other for a few years. We just had a few phone conversations, but you don't sit down, have an hour conversation, and very cool.
Yeah.
So, thanks.
I think we played phone tag in the beginning, back and forth for a long time, trying to catch you on your morning drive to work.
Yeah. So I love your business model and love what you guys do, and it's awesome. Very happy for you. So
Thank
cool.
you.
Very cool. Yeah, big fan of it. So
I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Thank you. And we'll do it again someday, or if you ever have an event or, we want to talk about it, the invitation's always open. So,
okay.
SoCal Jet Boats. I mean, I got my hat on here. They make great stuff, great merch. I mean, if you're into boats, I mean, the designs are great. I saw you at LA show last year. I had no idea until I saw the 40-footer. Like, you have so much stuff. It's all cool. Very cool. So
thank you.
Probably no place else in the world has a kind of selection of hot boat garb that you can get from these guys. So, and subscribe to their newsletter too, because it's pretty interesting. So they won't bombard you with spam. It's cool stuff. You promote a lot of events, whether it's your event or not. So you always kind of know what's going on by being in the newsletter. So I think the next big thing you'll be at, is it Firebird the next one, or you get the NJBA?
Yeah, we have an NJBA race coming up in a week and a half. Next weekend. And then after that, the first weekend in November is the Drag Boat Nationals that's hosted by the SDBA, the Southern Drag Boat Association, and the NJBA, which is the National Jet Boat Association. The NJBA is, I think, the longest lasting drag boat association that there is. It's 45, 50 years, I think.
Okay,
so,
cool.
And those guys are cool. It's a really neat organization. And I've been slowly getting more heavily involved with them, and and it's neat to see where they're going and what they're trying to do and bring back boat racing. Unfortunately, we had talked about this before, is there's no drag boat racing in California other than Lake Ming. Unfortunately, Lake Ming is on the chopping block. These local communities are starting to pop up around the lake, and they don't want to hear the noise, just like any other motor drag strip, being on the water or asphalt. They're all just kind of fading away, and that's getting on the chopping block as well. So they're trying to be proactive and find other locations that they can go race at. And it's neat to see what they have, and neat to hear what the ideas that they have and what they're doing. Also, we were just at this past weekend, we're down with ADBA, the Arizona Drag Boat Association, and racing there at La Paz Park at Pirates Den. That was a great event down there. Beautiful weather. It's a little warm, for the first week in October. We're pushing over 100 there in Parker, but it was a great time, and saw lots of great people down there. So we loved getting out there to these events, and just it's neat to get together with people and have share common interests. It's awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Well, you guys know where he's going to be, and good people to stop by and say hi. So hopefully you guys get out there and see one of these events and buy some swag from these guys. So
and follow us on all the socials. We're on everything: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You could find us anywhere. We try to cover all the avenues, so we have the exposure of all those audiences, and we appreciate everybody that supported us through the years. I'm speechless about it. It's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you, and take care, man. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Joe.
See you, man.
Thank you for listening to Powerboat Talk. If you like what you've heard, please head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. For more Powerboat Talk, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website at powerboattalk.com.